Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of 30 August 2016. Got a little knife story for you guys tonight. Not a review, again, just a show and tell of one of the artifacts I picked up at this year's 10th anniversary Great Eastern Cutlery Rendezvous. The knife that you see before you, well, by itself, it's just not very special, I didn't think. This is a number 14 Lick Creek boy's knife in antique yellow jig bone. Just an all steel, plain bolstered, bare ended, spear main, pen secondary, two bladed boy's knife jack. Tiny one too. 3 1/16 inches closed with about a 2 3/8 inch main blade. Kind of interesting, I think. It's a Tidioute branded GEC knife with a big old cut swedge and a long pull. And on the blade it says Lick Creek, and there's a picture of a house. Why would I buy this knife? I rather unceremoniously sold my number 15 boy's knife in knife bright acrylic. I bought it a year and a half ago from the store at GEC just because I didn't have one and I wanted to buy something while I was there. And this is really smaller than I like to carry. Even the 15 is just a little small for me. I like the 77, 78 pattern a little better. And you know, I sharpened a couple of these Lick Creeks for guys when they came out and kind of yawned. And I was in the store, the GEC store at the Rendezvous, and they had some green micarta single blade Lick Creeks there, and those didn't trip my trigger. And man, I think we were sort of packing it in on Saturday morning, and I heard that Lyle Fry, the sort of father of the number 14 Lick Creek, had a couple that he had made a portion of Charlie Campena's SFO with the Lick Creek brand name on the tube. Sort of Lyle's own small run of number 14 Lick Creeks. And if you guys watched my Rendezvous video series and my interview with Lyle, you know a little bit of the story. I met Lyle at the Rendezvous, and man, did we hit it off. I just love the guy. And you know, we spent quite a bit of time going through his case of Farmer's Jacks. Also spent an evening with him and talked with him a lot at the cookout. Just a great guy. I love him to death. And this is his baby, okay? And when I heard that he had some made how he wanted them with a special tube and a special little message inside the tube, I just had to have one. So I bought this, and when I die, kids will inherit this because it's personal. This is Lyle's knife. So the rest of it doesn't really matter much, except that I can't seem to get it out of my pocket. It goes so nicely in this little small size GEC pocket slip, just falls right out when you want it to. Easy pulls, you know, about 5 pull on the main blade, maybe about the same on the pen. It's just handy, and it's one of my favorite colors of jig bone. The antique yellow and autumn gold just kind of do it for me. Nice jigging, well made. I almost got patina, guys, on my bolsters. I had to flitz them before the video, but if you look close you can see. I had this in my pocket when I was sweaty working on the truck this weekend, and they're steel, so oh golly. Anyway, what a good looking little spear blade that is, huh? I'm not even a spear blade guy. It's just gorgeous. And for a tiny knife, a very functional and rather large pen blade with a hidden kick. So you can actually get up and use that thing. Good walk and talk. Excellent blade centering. Just a superbly crafted little knife. But now let's get to the good stuff. You see all the house on the blade? Now if you remember from my interview, Lyle Fry is from Wayne County, West Virginia. That house is Lyle's boyhood home. Shows up there as well. And Lick Creek is a real place in Wayne County, West Virginia. Here, let me read you the tube. You look at the knife, I'm going to read the tube. The Lick Creek Stories is the title, and here we go. Bill Howard asked permission to use my Lick Creek brand name for this run of boys' knives and my friend Charlie Campagna's number 14 Barlow's. Lick Creek is an actual place in Wayne County, West Virginia, where all my family originated. Whatever made Bill think this fellow from West Virginia could write stories people might enjoy, I'll never know. But he did, and I've attempted to put on paper elements in my life I thought might be of interest to others. You'll find these stories inside each GEC boys knife and the few SFOs of mine. I'm thankful to my daughter Maggie for editing these for me and for all those real people that inspired these actual events, unless disclosed otherwise. Lick Creek Stories epitomize the people and humor of Wayne County as it was and is. I expect these narratives will fondly remind you of events in all of our lives, for they surely have enriched mine. I hope you enjoy the knives and the stories they tell. May God bless. Signed, Lyle Fry. So I'm going to set this down. Not there. Look at the knife. In fact, I'm going to read you one of these Lick Creek stories while you look at a close-up of the knife. And this is what you'll find in the tube. Nice parchment paper rolled up. This one is entitled Patience and Fishing. Number 5. Man, that won't focus. Well, there we go. I'm going to bring it back here and read it while you guys look at the knife. Very small print, very small. Patience and Fishing, 5. As I've said before, I have just a couple memories before Daddy began taking me fishing, and a little later on hunting. Just a few short miles from our little house on Lick Creek was a pay-to-fish impoundment called Mamaw's Lake. This beautiful 10 or 15 acre body of water was fed from underground springs, and in it the stocked catfish and bluegill flourished. Being about 4 years old, one of the highlights of going fishing with Daddy and Uncle Frank, Uncle Lionel, or others was procuring bait, whether it was crawdads, mud eels, slugs, or the yellow and black variegated catalpa worms. Austere old Henry, the owner of the lake, had banned the usage of minnows as bait, but I've seen them smuggled in Prince Albert tins. Daddy and my uncles would cast out their lines and sit patiently awaiting the strike of the catfish, which depended on the fish's temperament or hunger that day. You never knew if these finicky fish wanted a night crawler, a catalpa worm turned inside out, or maybe a piece of raw chicken soaked in Kool-Aid. I learned patience fishing at Mamaw's Lake, and also how much penny candy the 15 cents Daddy gave me would buy. Yes, sir, I caught bluegills on worms all day long off that rock in front of the concession house. You must have patience fishing, sometimes more than others, as evidenced when me and my cousin John Edward were fishing at our favorite catfish and carp hole in 12-Pole Creek. 12-Pole is the size of most small to medium rivers. It's just a mile short of length for river classification. We had just baited and cast out when a group of neighborhood construction workers came loudly to the other end of the sandbar. The fish weren't biting much, so the drunken carousing of our neighbors on the sandbar disdainfully provided some entertainment to pass the time. Before long it seemed they had run out of bait, and they were turning rocks over to find crawdads when one of the inebriates found a water snake that had caught and was in the process of swallowing a frog. I've seen this before, a ghastly sight in nature, a snake's body with a frog's head sticking out. All the while the frog literally and figuratively croaking. But this fella just took the frog out of the snake's mouth and tossed the snake in a 5-gallon bucket, cutting the frog up for bait. Who knows what goes through the minds of men under the influence of alcohol? But we could hear them josh and old Diddle, how he had robbed that snake of its meal. In a bit, feeling pity, I guess, for that snake, Diddle took off the lid of that 5-gallon bucket. Without a thought, he grasped the snake behind its head, all the while pouring beer in its mouth and muttering something. He did this unnatural deed a couple more times to the snake before eventually setting him free in 12-pole. That snake stumbled and swam across the creek going sideways amidst our laughter and amusement. He had made that snake drunk. I've often heard animals like alcohol, and that's how they used to catch monkeys in Africa, by getting them under the influence. I've always had the opinion that is why bears get obnoxious and cantankerous in the fall, eating all those fermented berries. Takes them all winter to sleep it off. Me and John Edward were still chuckling how that was the darndest thing we'd ever seen when we spied something. There in 12-pole, swimming right towards Diddle, was that self-same water snake with another big frog in its mouth. John Edward's my cousin. God bless. Lyle. Oh, so that, guys, is why I'm the owner of a number 14 Lick Creek, directly from the private stash of Lyle Fry. What a man. This is one of those things about traditional pocket knives that makes them so cool. The people you meet while collecting them, researching them, making videos about them, owning them. They are a connection to history. And you know what? It's not just American history. It could be German history, French history, English history, Pakistani history, Japanese history. Doesn't matter. These little knives are the kinds of tools that bring generations together and make friends out of people of goodwill who bump into each other in the hobby. Pretty cool. That's a lot to say for a nondescript little pocket knife. But I sure love it. Whoa, don't roll away there, little tube. That's all for this one, my friends. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word and my little Lick Creek are sharp.